All right, my friends, welcome to episode 315 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry, the professor at Prof Plays Games on Twitter. Over there is Anthony, the dev at Summer Speak. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Got a week of vacation to play Final Fantasy 14 and wait, never mind.
No, unfortunately not. That sucks. Ow.
Yes. I mean, I still want my vacation. Like, I needed the vacation.
Oh, yeah. You'll find something else to play.
But it's still very much like, look at all this extra time I have now that I'm not spending it in Eorzea. But it's cool. I'll finish this week of vacation, then I go back to work for a week, and then that Friday, December 3rd, I can start playing it.
Yes.
So
you're so close.
I'm still very close. I am very excited.
Very cool. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I am also off work this week, which is I set my autoresponder of my email. It's like I'm not going to be answering email regularly, and boy, I've never needed a week away like I do this week. It's amazing. So this week I got a little bit of time to play a game, which is nice, and talk about games. And it's nice because we're moving into December where the Game Awards come up, and we get to talk about all that fun stuff. But before we do, for episode 315, we get to talk about Activision again.
Oh, God damn it.
It's interesting this time because Sony and Microsoft both kind of internally, and then either it leaked externally or they also had an external message, were reevaluating their relationship with Activision in some way.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know what that means really, but it says something that they have to address this to their employees. Like,
yeah,
that's a meaningful thing. That's not where Activision Blizzard wants to be.
No, especially when you have a co-marketing partnership with Sony on Vanguard right now. And I think they pulled the banners out of the store, as far as I remember.
Possibly. I haven't seen them because they're all in full Black Friday ads now. But
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, that was not a good time for Blizzard Activision or Kotick specifically. Except the board still supports them for whatever reason. Although that was probably a statement meant to cover their ass more than anything.
Yeah, the board put a dumb statement on investors.activision.com. The normal shit. But, Kotick's been there forever. How many of those board members did Kotick help get that job?
Yeah.
Or, knew. So that they're just friends. Like, I know how boards work. I've seen it at my own college. It doesn't matter how much reason or facts you have on your side. If they like you, they're not going to turn on you. So
yeah. So that doesn't surprise me. But this, with Sony and Microsoft, it leaked to external, but to even internally tell their employees, like, have to address this and say, yeah, we are relooking at this. We are not cool with what's going on. Probably sends a bad message to any investors in Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I still hold is probably the only way that Kotick ever gets out of there, is if they just continue to get kicked in stock. Their stock price gets kicked to the ground. It's not doing great.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year, it was like 105 or so, or somewhere,
it's the start of this year. It was 91.30. It peaked at 103.81 on February 8th, and then it's just kind of stagnated in the 90s, and then just started this decline.
Right.
In June, decline, and then all these stories started coming out over the last 3 months, and it's down to right now 62.38 is what it closed, and after hours it's 62.53. So,
well, and part of this new thing, obviously, and some of the hardcore, stupid, gross shit that Kotick did in terms of covering for people who were sexually harassing, making sure they didn't lose their jobs, threatening to kill a former assistant for bringing light to the gross shit that was happening there. But also that Townsend letter that pissed me off so much earlier in the year, turned out he wrote it, made her put her name on it. Duh.
Yeah.
So I don't feel bad for her. She's fucking awful, but that sucks.
It's a new level of just ridiculousness to that situation.
Yeah. So it just feels like I would, as a, I don't know, fan of video games and a fan of like decent morality, I would like to think this is the straw that broke the camel's back. But knowing the reality of boards, like it's not. Like no. I'm predicting, I would love $100 is going to charity at the end of this month if he's not gone from me, because I feel so strongly that this is it or it's never happening. And I'm just pretty confident it's not happening.
I'm pretty confident it won't happen. I don't think it would be this quickly. I do think it's the stock price and it's over next year, which actually I'd have a hard time seeing the stock price actually going up because Vanguard sales have been low overall. Right. That's been reported. It's not getting reviewed very well. So it's like a downturn for Call of Duty. Blizzard has nothing coming out.
Right.
They have no other games announced for any time next year. So I can't realistically from an investor standpoint, I'm like, well, why would the stock price go up? You're selling less than expectation and you're not giving us anything on what you're doing.
Unless Warzone for some reason does amazing, but I don't know why that would happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's like an ongoing product that could have some sort of magical golden goose thing happen, but
it's a pretty competitive market, though.
It is incredibly.
They get decent viewers on Twitch, which is a great way. But I mean, right now, looking at Twitch, you have Fortnite, Apex, Valorant, and Halo all above them. Who knows if Halo will stay there? But
people are liking Halo, but I don't know what longevity.
They are. I mean, I don't know what the tail. That's the thing on it. Exactly. Like people are liking it, but then I was like looking at the Steam numbers for it, and it's been going basically since it came out. Every day, fewer and fewer people playing it. It like peaked at close to 300,000 on the day the multiplayer dropped,
right.
And the peak for today was 180,000. So it's hard to say where it will eventually find its stable area in multiplayer, because they have had issues with their people complaining about the battle pass and how it's set up. They have just some pains they're working through. So
they did launch that as a beta, though. I thought
they did, which was probably good for them.
Yeah, like we're gonna give it to you early. It's still got some things to tweak, so give us some feedback. But it seems overall positive. I downloaded it. That's as far as I've gotten. But hopefully I'll try it out this week.
Yeah, I haven't even downloaded it. I probably won't play it.
What? A super Halo fanboy? You didn't download it? Wow.
I know. Because the fact that I don't play that. I've never played much ever of the multiplayers. It was always just co-op, single player. God, I was listening to some streamers and they had the exact same issues with the 343. They were so pissed that Cortana was the villain. And they're hoping it's just a big fake out and Infinite addresses that.
It feels like that's going to be the case to me, honestly.
That they figure out some way to give you Cortana back, and say it's not really her as the big bad, but
the rampant AI.
That doesn't sit well. It still doesn't sit well with me story wise. I don't. It's kind of the heart of the game was Master Chief and Cortana. Yep. And you just strip Cortana away. It's like, what? Why would you do that? I get it's the desire to subvert expectations and be very surprising in your story, but sometimes you don't want to completely destroy the foundations of your.
It didn't add anything. Like Halo 5 was a whole Locke story, and like her going rampant is like okay. Like I finished the campaign because. I don't know how to finish that sentence, to be honest.
Yeah. It's just funny just listening to people being like really disliking that a lot, mostly. And I'm like, I get it. I haven't really played through it. I just read the story to see what was going on and why. And I was like,
was that
I don't know.
Sentences?
Yeah. It basically just didn't feel like it was earned is what it sounded like. Shocking.
Yeah, none of this is surprising.
But we'll see.
Yep.
From what I've watched of the multiplayer, some streamers I watched playing it, it seems like it's pretty cool. More tried and true, old school multiplayer, not trying to like be crazy different. I mean, you get your capture the flags and your team death matches, and
Halo multiplayer has just always been so good. Like,
yeah,
like how you made it better was you made it free to play. There you go. And if you added I cannot imagine they're not going to add Battle Royale. I know they keep saying the only BR we care about is Battle Rifle, but seems like a good idea. But
I mean, it's something to try. I mean, that's the thing about it. Like, if Microsoft is going to try having their own Battle Royale, it's going to be Halo.
Yep. Yeah, sure. Do it for a week or two and see if anyone even cares, you know?
Yeah. And it's just more of a thing of like, maybe they're just saying they'll never do a Battle Royale. I don't know. But it's hard to see why they would leave the potential of that money on the table.
That's how I feel too. It doesn't make sense from a business standpoint, even though creatively, if you're like, oh, we don't want to buy into that flavor of the week or whatever, like it's been around for a lot of years now, and it's actually fun. So
yep. And I mean, when I talk about Battle Royales right now, Apex is still sitting in the top 10 most viewed on Twitch. Like every time Apex has like new season starting or everything, it spikes back up really, really high.
Well, that's what I'd like to see Halo do, is do something like Apex did, because Apex was a battle royale, but they did something really different, and it was super compelling. Yep. So I'm sure Halo can figure that out. Yeah,
they really could probably. Hey, a battle royale on a ring. There you go.
There you go.
I mean, you say that, but the map could be really cool if done right. Where like the ring is starting at a point and like crumbling away, and you gotta basically run the ring or use vehicles or anything. Like you could do some pretty cool shit with a level design like that.
You have rampant AI coming in from the outside.
Like you could do all sorts of cool stuff. I don't know.
That one's free, Microsoft.
That is free. Go for it. Take it. I'm sure you have better ideas than that. But
no, my idea was the best ever.
Well, I mean, that's true. But
a seasoned game designer over here. Yeah. Speaking of seasoned game designers, lots of them are up for awards. This coming month, the Game Awards put out all of their awards for the categories, and we're going to go through them, skipping the ones that we normally skip.
We're
going to start with Game of the Year, because they do, and we're going through their website. We've got Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village.
I haven't played any of these, but Dread.
Go ahead.
I haven't played any of these, but Dread.
I was going to say, for the first time for a while, I've only played one of these, and it's Dread. Although I've got 3 of these in my cart with the Black Friday sale. But Dread is obviously amazing. But I think It Takes Two has a lot of fans of how different it is. You know, that the co-op, that you don't get that experience really anywhere else. So
yeah. My honest opinion is it's likely going to be Dread or Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
I do think that that's likely whenever you take in not just like the community voting, but like whoever their judges are. Like those two stand out. Like It Takes Two probably, it's nice to see it's nominated. I just have a hard time seeing it winning. Deathloop has some people that really like it, but it's also incredibly divisive. Psychonauts 2, I watched a bunch of it. It's hilarious. God, it is a hilarious game. But it didn't make me feel like, oh, this is like huge game of the year. Like, oh my God. I don't know about Village. I don't know what was the general feeling on Resident Evil Village other than everyone just loving the super tall lady?
When it finally came out and got past that kind of whatever, that whole lady Montesquieu or whatever her name was.
Yeah.
The reviews and stuff that I heard on podcasts were really positive about how the gameplay was kind of a step forward, and the environments specifically were beautiful. A lot of castle kind of stuff going on. But that's all I remember.
Yeah.
Scary, in a good way, I guess. That's one of the ones in my cart. I've got that one and Ratchet and Clank, and It Takes Two in my cart.
Considering Ratchet and Clank, my son wants Ratchet and Clank for Christmas though. So.
Well, it's on sale digital for $50, which is Not
I'm checking to
too
see
late.
if there's going to be a physical sale on a couple of
Right.
them. So,
Yep.
because that would be nicer to. I've given him digital games before that you could only get them digitally, but if I can get actually a physical copy to put under the tree,
Yep.
it'd be
That's
pretty
much better.
nice. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that. I'm hoping, I want to finish Dread before the end of the year for our discussion, but I want to get through Ratchet and Clank too, because that's always a fun game. The rest of them I probably won't play, unfortunately, before the end of the year. But my choice here is Dread, actually.
Yeah. I could be okay. Yeah. It's good.
Fuck, I can't wait to talk more about it later, because
Yeah.
that's what I played today. All right, moving on to the next one is Best Game Direction, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. I think there's a lot of good choices here. Deathloop, It Takes Two, Returnal, Psychonauts 2, and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I think this is where It Takes Two wins.
Yeah, I think so. This is where it feels like that fits in.
Yep. Just in terms of the creative vision and innovation.
Yeah. If not that, I would love to see Returnal take an award.
Yeah, I bet you they're going to win for music, but I think they're up for music.
They're up for a couple, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't check if that was on for sale the Black Friday, because I would like to check that one out as well. Yeah, it would be nice. They've got a couple of nods, which is nice. I just, creative vision, innovation, obviously Ratchet and Clank as well because of the SSD and the way what they're able to do with that. But I just feel like even a step above that, It Takes Two just innovates how two people can play a game together. So.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Next is Best Narrative. Outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Deathloop, again. It Takes Two, again. Life is Strange, True Colors, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and Psychonauts 2. So I saw almost all of... I watched a stream of all of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, okay. So you know the story.
I do know the story, and it's pretty good. Is it amazing? I don't know. But it's way better than I would expect from, like, a comic video game. And in some ways, I'm like, as good as the movies?
Wow.
Like they do a good job on, like, the storyline of the characters and everything. So, points to that. I don't think it will get it, though. But I haven't seen the other ones, their stories completely. Psychonauts 2, again, is just really funny.
Right. I've heard a lot of... sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It Takes Two, like, despite the innovation and whatever, the funness of having the multiplayer be what it is, I've heard not so great things about the story for some people in terms of how they kind of have the parents, breaking up, and the kids, the reaction to the kids, and how they sometimes like neglect the kids or ignore the kids for laughs or whatever. And it's like, that didn't sit well with some reviewers. And I can see that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this one's a little bit up in the air. I'm going
to go with Life is Strange.
It's a good choice.
Yeah.
I'll go with Psychonauts 2. Why not?
All right. Perfect. I'll check the next one as well.
Best art direction. Outstanding creative or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. You have The Artful Escape, Deathloop, Kena, Bridge of Spirits, Psychonauts 2, and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I think I know what you're going to go with.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Obviously, I think Ratchet and Clank is probably the most gorgeous of all of these. And I'm looking forward to getting to Artful Escape for the end of the year as well. Obviously, because of the content. Yeah. But man, Kena is hard. Kena's good.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's for art direction, it's either gonna be Kena or Ratchet and Clank because it's also technical achievement as well. So
yeah, and
I think it's between those two, really.
But that piece makes me think Ratchet.
True,
because I feel like the gameplay of Ratchet stands up against the cutscenes of Ratchet, whereas Kena, the cutscenes are incredible, and then the gameplay it's okay, it's good, but man, the cutscenes are where it fucking shines.
Yeah,
in terms of their animation, it's nice to see them get a nod here.
Yes, and this is a category they deserve to get a nod. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Man, are you picking that up at some point?
Yeah, I will at some point.
I hope your daughter would like it. I think your son would like it too, obviously, but
yeah.
And my daughter's really connected with it, so obviously, since we talked about it so fucking much on this podcast. All right, the next one is Best Score and Music. This is interesting. We see Cyberpunk 2077 appear here. We've got Deathloop, Near Replicant version 1.22474487139.
Oh, jeez.
I just wanted to read the whole thing. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which is interesting, and Artful Escape, which is, I think, their homegrown soundtrack. Licensed soundtrack, obviously, is Marvel's. I think the whole thing's licensed.
And I would say I would prefer just to throw that out.
Me too. I would too.
I don't like using. I go that the category says it can be licensed as well, but I don't like the thought of giving an award saying, "Cool, you chose good songs." That's great.
That's how I feel. Like you made a playlist. Good job.
Yeah. No matter how good that playlist is.
Yep. But it lists Richard Jacques composer. So are they actually going
I'm sure there's some composed songs in there as well. Yeah. There are some composed songs.
Yeah.
That's so funny watching it. The person streaming, they have a streaming mode for the game in it. Replaces it turns off all the licensed music and replaces it with custom stuff. I assume done by the composer. And it was fine.
That's cool then. That could be really good stuff. Maybe that's what
it was fine. It didn't stand out. I didn't hate it or anything. It kind of mimicked what the licensed stuff probably was. Like you could kind of tell, like, oh, I bet it's a song like this or that.
Yeah, right. I can see that being fun. Artful Escape being up here again. Like,
gotta play that.
Gotta download it. Need to fucking start it.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I'm gonna choose on this one because is it critics mostly?
Critics, I think, make up more than half of the final vote. So whoever they choose is industry judges on that.
How do you feel about Cyberpunk 2077 soundtrack?
I think its soundtrack was great.
Yeah, it's kind of where
it's a good soundtrack, but it's either that or Nier is my expectation.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the things in Cyberpunk that I really enjoyed. I should say I enjoyed a lot of Cyberpunk overall. I had a lot of fun with the game.
It's just computer.
It's just flawed as hell. But I had a good time with it. So
yeah, that's why I was kind of wondering who's doing most of the voting, because if there's still lingering bad taste from that game, I can see them choosing Nier.
Yeah.
But if they're going to do it on its merits, like the game, whatever, the marketing, whatever, but this music was really good, I think it can go Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I would agree.
Why don't you take the next one?
Next is Best Audio Design. Recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. You have Deathloop, Forza Horizon 5, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Resident Evil Village, and Returnal. Again, games I haven't played.
Yep. Games I haven't even heard.
I've heard stuff in Returnal, but it's been so long. Returnal came out so long ago.
Right.
So I don't even know. I have no clue here.
I'm going to go Returnal on this one.
Could be.
Yeah, I think Returnal. It's got that Metroid-y.
Yeah, it was either continue Returnal or Resident Evil. Like
that's true.
The horror games with good sound design always kind of stand out. So
I know that the work behind Forza Horizon 5 is amazing. I just don't know if it stands out as a winner.
It's cars.
It's cars, exactly.
Good sounding cars, but cars.
Like, you could just really tell it's a Jeep versus a Ford. Like, okay, sure. I believe you.
Next is Best Performance. And it's individual for voice acting, motion, and or performance capture. So all of those things. So you get Erica Mori as Alex Shin from Life is Strange, True Colors, Giancarlo Esposito as Anton Castillo in Far Cry 6, Jason Kelly as Colt Vaughn in Deathloop. There he is. She is Maggie Robertson as Lady Dimitrisou in Resident Evil Village, and Ozioma Akaga as Juliana Blake in Deathloop.
When this was announced, people were going nuts from what I saw for Jason Kelly and Ozioma Akaga from Deathloop, of how great their performances were.
I've heard that.
So I'm hoping it's one of those two, just based on the reaction.
Yeah. They stand out. I mean, yeah, that's probably the I would say one of them over,
Mm-hmm.
especially over Giancarlo Esposito. Like, he's a great actor to begin with. But I would like to see recognition for generally more voiceover and motion capture people.
Yeah, me too.
Than big name actor.
Exactly. I feel like that's almost like why that was. I mean, I'm sure he did a great performance, but the name carries some weight as well.
Yeah.
I also feel like, and this happens sometimes, where Deathloop's up for a ton of categories. I don't think Deathloop's going to win many of them, but this is the one that it could win.
I could see that.
Yeah. So, I guess you could say the same thing for Resident Evil Village. I guess, but
it's true.
Yeah, it's cool to see. It's cool to see so many people of color, to be honest, on this one, and different faces, different names than normal. So, as much as I love Laura Bailey, it's not just Laura Bailey. Again,
That's true. That's true. It does say something about the timing of these awards and when the game has to come out by, because I'm pretty sure Call of Duty Vanguard cannot be considered for these awards.
Oh yeah, what is the cutoff date? Because Vanguard came out 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, I can't remember. 2 weeks. Yeah. But yeah, it's basically I'm pretty sure I heard that it couldn't even be considered for this. So
it could be next year then.
Bailey was out this year.
Yeah. Right. So she couldn't even get her nod.
She can't just continue to be in here and dominating things.
Exactly. Next one, Games for Impact, thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Before Your Eyes, Boyfriend Dungeon, Chicory, A Colorful Tale, Life is Strange, True Colors, and No Longer Home. I haven't played any of these, although I keep saying I want to play Boyfriend Dungeon. But I've heard tons and tons and tons of great things about Chicory. So
yeah, that's the one I was going with. I haven't played it, but I've just heard so much positive buzz around that one. Boyfriend Dungeon, I heard a lot of positive stuff, but there was a pretty, unexpected backlash to the game.
Oh, really?
From a story standpoint.
Okay.
Because they're just not I don't know if it's a spoiler, but it deals with some pretty dark subject matter.
Yeah.
And they actually added a warning to the front of the game, letting people know that if you have problems with stalking and things of that nature, this is not the game for you, or should just be prepared that those elements do show up in the game, from the story and what's going on. So, I know that it took some flack for not being upfront about that, because they wanted it part of the natural progression of learning of the game.
Right. Yeah, but you got to have trigger warnings for some things.
For some things like that, yeah.
Yep.
Supposedly it was pretty intense. So, I think Chicory is probably, of all these, Chicory is the one I've heard the most about, that is constantly just lavish with praise. So,
yep. Me too. Plus, Lena Raine's on there, so it's got to be amazing music. Although I guess we haven't gotten to that. Best ongoing, Apex, Final Fantasy X1. I'd never heard of this game.
No.
Final Fantasy 14 Online, Fortnite, Genshin Impact, and then Call of Duty Warzone. Boy, oh boy, I know it's going to win this one.
Do you?
Final Fantasy 14. There's no way it doesn't win. Right?
I hope it does. I hope.
How could it not? It's it's been revolutionized or revitalized, or
I know.
It's like the clarion call for fucking MMOs right now.
It really is, and I think they do deserve to win it. But I don't put these awards past it. I could totally see it going to Apex.
I guess it just depends on who's voting, because the type of person who plays Apex is, I hate to stereotype, but probably not the type of person that plays Final Fantasy 14 and vice versa.
Correct.
So you've got Apex, Fortnite, and Call of Duty Warzone in one part of the Venn diagram.
Yep.
You have Final Fantasy 14 and Genshin Impact on the other side. Who's in the middle? Who's playing all these?
No one.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's probably between Final Fantasy 14 and Apex, and I just don't know what the judge breakdown is. I want to say Final Fantasy 14 gets it for the reasons that you said. It's had an amazing year. It has shown that this older MMO can still has a lot of legs and can still draw in a bunch of new players.
It's got new legs at a time when, honestly, Final Fantasy 16 is starting to be marketed.
Which is
15
crazy.
is gone out of the zeitgeist.
Yeah. There was a quote from Yoshi P, the director of Final Fantasy XIV, and it was in Famitsu last week. And there's like, I'm going to paraphrase it, and paraphrase from a translation that I read that basically is like, they want people to go into Endwalker and play it and start getting into the story and getting through it and being like, oh, they really went there. They're doing this.
Oh.
And start seeing the seeds of what the next 10 years of the game hold.
The next 10 years?
10 years.
Holy shit. Okay.
But I'm like, what the hell do they have planned?
Oh my gosh, so cool.
So I'm excited, and it's definitely at a place where they're not looking to like, oh, okay, we're finishing off this first like 10-year story arc. We're done with the game. It's like, no, we have another 10 years that we want to do.
That's really cool. Why not?
Whatever that is, I don't even know. I'm curious. So hopefully they get it. They deserve it.
Well, I know this is not accurate at all, but the game's been around for that long, and it feels like it's just being discovered. That's not true. People have been playing it for a long time. We've all known about it, but it feels like it's really coming into its own finally, and that like should give it another at least several years of legs.
Yeah, I think at least gets a number of more expansions. So we'll see. Next is Best Indie. Outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. You have 12 Minutes, Death's Door, Inscription, Kena, Bridge of Spirits, and Loop Hero.
A lot of people had a lot of good things to say about Death's Door.
And Inscription.
Oh, really?
Like, people freaking loved Inscription. Like,
really? I don't think I've heard of that at all, actually.
Yeah. And this is just because I live in the developer world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so a lot of developers love Inscription.
Okay.
But that doesn't translate to this winning an award. Like,
what type of game is it? It's not a card game, is it?
It is a card game.
Oh, it is a card game. Okay.
Yeah, it's this weird card. I can't even explain it. I haven't played it, and like reading it about people talking about it, I was like, this is clearly much deeper than just this simple card game. Like, there's a lot going on. Yeah, people really like Death's Door. It's not 12 minutes. I don't think that wins.
I think that had a lot of hype and didn't live up to it.
No.
And
Loop Hero, I doubt
cool,
it.
But I don't think it wins this.
No.
I think it's between Death's Door and Kena, and I think Kena.
Yeah, I hope Kena. I hope Kena gets it. Sorry,
go ahead.
I want to see an indie that makes a game of that caliber win the award.
That's how I feel too. Is that I feel like no offense to like indie games or the games that are on here, they're all great games, but they sometimes look a certain way, just because of budget or whatever.
Yeah.
But this one looks like a AAA game, for whatever that means. But the mechanics, I like them, but I know there was some feedback about them kind of feeling like PS2 era versus Death's Door. The gameplay was, people really gravitated towards it. So I could see both. I could see like the critical darling of Death's Door winning, but I'm putting my
hope for Kena
down for Kena. Yep,
I'm hoping for Kena too.
So. Kena. All right, the next one is Best Mobile Game, Fantasian. Hey, I played that one. Genshin Impact, League of Legends, Wild Rift, Marvel Future Revolution, whatever that is, and then Pokemon Unite.
I feel like it's either going to be Genshin or Pokemon Unite.
Yes, I agree.
And I do hope it just goes to Genshin. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't...
This is where they could win,
Yeah. Reminds me, I do need to play Fantasian.
It's good, so I could see if people who would have played Fantasian if it came out on a console, if they played it on their phones, I think would have found something to enjoy.
Yeah.
Did they actually do that? I don't think so.
So here's the difference between Fantasian and the rest of them. Fantasian is a single-player game. That is, it's through Apple Arcade, but it is not a gotcha game. It's not free to play. It is very much just your I wouldn't say typical, but big JRPG.
Yep.
Just done on a phone. Every other game here is a free to play game.
True.
Of some
more
sort.
Access to those other ones.
Yep, and it's just it's So that's just a difference in between them, and why could see it going to Fantasian just to reward it, being like, hey, good job on being a really good mobile game that's not free to play, that is more traditional, just play a game. But I do think it's probably Pokemon Unite or Genshin for how much impact they've had on the industry. And I want to say Genshin probably over Pokemon, because Genshin is what everyone's chasing now. And
Yeah,
Pokemon Unite, like, it's a MOBA. It's a Pokemon MOBA that's free to play. You can play it on phones or Switch, but it's still a Pokemon MOBA. It's not the most revolutionary thing there. So, I don't know. If Genshin's going to win something, it wins here. So,
yeah, I see that too. I would vote for that as
well. Best community support: Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy XIV Online, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. Give it to Final Fantasy right now.
Yeah. Recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and batches. Yes, Final Fantasy XIV wins this.
My God, the producer cried on stream for delaying it.
Right. Yeah, just that alone puts it over the edge.
Just give him something for it, please.
Make him feel better for that speech.
I don't think it's Fortnite overall. No Man's Sky is fine. Destiny 2, the community is... Their support is probably great, but the community is assholes to them. It's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't on that game.
Exactly.
I haven't really focused on what the community support is kind of like for Apex.
I feel like the transparency, responsiveness, and updates and patches are strong. I don't know if how they're interacting with the community, but
yeah. If you go for just transparency and responsiveness, I would say Final Fantasy XIV.
Without a doubt. Yep.
They just are incredible. This whole year when they've been getting this huge influx, and there's now been queues and just everything, they've been so transparent about this is what's going on, and this is what we're trying to do to alleviate it, and how long it's going to take. And then just generally just trying to be very upfront about everything they're doing. I mean, that's why they do these giant 6-hour streams where they talk through everything in the game that's changing.
Yep. I mean, that's transparency to an unbelievable degree.
Yeah. And it's not just one of these. They do it every few months, being like, hey, we're going to be here talking about this and taking questions and the whole thing. So, again, I hope they get it. They deserve it. They've been doing an outstanding job.
Yes. Here, agreed.
And now we have innovation and accessibility presented by Chevrolet.
Pushing the medium, pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience, which is super awesome. I wish I knew what these things were doing to do that. Yeah. I know what Ratchet and Clank has done. People were reviewing the accessibility options for Ratchet and Clank. You could slow down the game.
Yeah.
So the boss fights, you could have a lot more time to react, which is cool, and a bunch of other things. They really threw everything at it, like Sony does with Last of Us
2. Yep.
So, but I don't know what the rest of these have done.
Which actually makes me wondering if that's just going to be a thing that Sony pushes going forward overall in all of their first party games, taking a lot of those lessons from Last of Us 2 and putting them into their other first party games. So what's the God of War Ragnarok going to have in it for accessibility?
Right. You already have the framework. Why not?
Yeah, you start making that just as you have framework of it, and then clearly there might just be an internal directive to make this happen. So, yeah, I don't know what these other games do with it. I haven't played them. I haven't messed with their accessibility options. All I know is that from a guy at work who's been playing Far Cry 6 on an ultra wide monitor, the level of control he has over his UI placement and margins and everything is pretty incredible.
Oh, that's really cool.
So he can while he's playing on an ultra wide, he can put all his UI that's anchored on the corners, bring it into the center of the screen, so he can just cool. Look. It's it's very nice. So I mean. There's a level of that. Yeah. I don't. Cool. Yeah, I don't. How does that go to other levels of accessibility? I have no clue. But so this is completely up in the air to me. I don't know. I feel good for anybody winning it, though, because it means they actually cared and put the stuff in. And I have no clue what the Veil is at all.
I've never heard of that game. The Veil,
Nope.
Shadow of the Crown.
Should I?
I mean, I'm glad they're doing stuff.
I'm like, do I need to look this up?
Keyboard myself. Shit, it wants me to fuck that.
The Veil, Shadow of the Crown, is on Steam. Feel your enemy. The Veil is an audio-based action-adventure that sets out to breathe new life into medieval combat and fantasy narrative. Oh, the screenshots, it's just like black and stars and like text.
The voice acting for the characters is nothing short of phenomenal and help breathe life into the Veil's cast. Strong sense of them as people as a result, which is impressive when you consider the voice acting is selling the entirety of the narrative.
I mean, I don't know if this wins, but I am now intrigued.
Me too. How the game looks to both Alex and players. There's no visuals. It's just stars.
Yeah, it's stars. And there's like a map I see at some point here. But, what?
Wow.
Okay, that's on my wish list. Let's just make sure I remember that, because this could be really cool.
Travel map as audibly described.
Thank you, Game Awards, for pointing me at a game I have never heard of.
Very cool. Okay.
Fully blind accessible.
Damn, that is badass. Okay, that deserves a purchase. Okay. Yep, fully fledged role playing experience that relies solely on the auditory to get its message across. Huh, what's it rated? Is there a rating on that?
Looking. Maybe I don't see any.
Okay.
No, I don't see an ES. No, there it is. E10.
Oh, cool. Perfect. Very, very cool.
It has violent references and alcoholic references.
Okay.
Which it's fantasy, that makes sense. So it's got to describe.
Shit. Okay. Well, I'm gonna add that to the list. Okay. So next we've got Best VR AR, Hitman 3, I Expect You to Die 2, Lone Echo 2, Resident Evil 4, and Sniper Elite VR. I don't really have anything to say about these. Do you?
I can't review any of these. So
okay. Yep. Let's moving on. Best action game: Back 4 Blood, Chivalry 2, Deathloop, Far Cry 6, and Returnal.
I think Deathloop or Returnal wins this.
I do too. Yep.
If Deathloop's going to win one, it's this one.
Yeah. I think same thing about Returnal. If Returnal no, I think Returnal wins sound in some way.
Yeah.
Cool. Deathloop, maybe we'll get a nod there. Best action adventure, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. There's a strong candidate in this category. We've got Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village. I guess actually Psychonauts 2 is also a strong contender here, I think.
Yeah, but I think it's Dread. I'll be honest.
I think, yeah. The tagline there is describing Metroid Dread.
Yes. Not the other games are bad. I just think this Dread probably gets this.
Yeah. You want to take the next one?
Yeah, best role-playing game for the best game designed with a rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. You have Cyberpunk 2077, Monster Hunter Rise, Scarlet Nexus, Shin Megami Tensei 5, and Tales of Arise. Oh boy. I haven't done Scarlet Nexus or Tales of Arise. I haven't done Shin Megami yet, but I don't think Shin Megami wins this at all. Like, it's a nod, but it doesn't win. I think it's Monster Hunter overall. It's either Monster Hunter or Tales of Arise, because I've heard that Tales of Arise is really good.
Really, really, really good, apparently.
I don't think Cyberpunk should necessarily be in here. I put Persona 5 Strikers over it.
I know that's not because it's a bad game. It is a good game, I'm sure. But wow,
it's just, I don't know why it's excluded from this list. Like that actually bugs me.
Is it P5 Strikers. Actiony?
I don't know. It's a full RPG though. Like if you're gonna put the other ones in, like Strikers was this year, right? I'm not wrong.
It was. I'm pretty sure it was March.
Oh, it was March this year. It came out the year before in Japan. So yes.
Oh, so that's why.
I don't think so. I mean, unless they go by worldwide release, I don't know. I have no clue how the Game Awards chooses these things.
Just based on how many people have played it, I think it's Monster Hunter Rise. I think the only one that can beat it is Tales of Arise.
Yep.
Although people really like SMT5, I don't know anything about Scarlet Nexus, and people fucking hate 2077. So
yeah. Although I mean, I still say it. Like I had a friend text me a few weeks ago, and he was like, "So I've been playing Cyberpunk 2077. I'm having a great time. I don't know what all the hate was about." And I'm like, and I agreed with him. I'm like, I get where the release and all the hate was. He's playing on PS5, the PS4 version on PS5, which plays fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you played that on your PS4, you would know why.
Yes. Right. Why don't you just just go try it?
Yeah, I'm just like, no, and I'm like, I played it on PC where it ran fine. I'm like, that's why people hate this, because it was not a game that could work on last gen consoles. But they wanted it on those anyway. So, I don't think it deserves to, like, I mean, really, I will just say, P5 Strikers should be on here, and it should be in the place of Cyberpunk. It is a better RPG than Cyberpunk. It's a better game than Cyberpunk.
Yeah, right.
So, boo.
Yes, big boo.
But I think it's Rise.
Next one is, I think it's one of those two, Rise or Arise. The winner is going to have the word Rise in the title.
It's true.
Best fighting is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles, Guilty Gear Strive, which is what I think wins, Melty Blood Type Lumina, no idea what that is, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, which means that there weren't that many fighting games because people really hated that game, and then Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown.
Strive.
Hands
down, Strive.
Yep. Arc System Works is winning this.
Yeah. Of all those listed here, I have some knowledge of the fighting game genre just from a couple guys at work. Strive is the only game they'll talk positively about constantly. So,
yep. I think that it's got great netcode. It's got a great game.
Yep.
The rest of them, I think, are to fill the rest of the ballot out. I'm sorry.
Next is Best Family Game. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform, we have It Takes Two, Mario Party Superstars, New Pokemon Snap, Super Mario 3D World, plus Bowser's Fury, and WarioWare Get It Together. So the Nintendo category is what this is.
It's Nintendo, and we're going to sneak in an EA game.
Yep.
I don't know if It Takes Two is... I don't know. I think it was family.
Is Superstars the new Mario Party?
It is.
The one that just came out?
Correct.
It's either Super Mario 3D World, Mario Party Superstars. Probably Super Mario 3D World.
I think it's that one, just because of Bowser's Fury and how cool that is.
Yeah.
Really cool. I mean, I played that one with my daughter for a long time. I can't believe that was this year. Jesus Christ. This year has been long.
Yeah. It's been long, but not long whenever I'm like, fuck, 2021's almost over.
Yeah, true. Yeah, my wife was saying last week, like a week ago, man, we got one more week till break. I was like, yeah, that week's going to go by so slow. She's like, no, it's not. And then it was just gone. Yeah, it's Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury. The only thing that could hold it back is that 3D World is a game that was out before. But if you want to go by the fact that most people didn't have a Wii U, then it's... yeah, I mean, whatever. Superstars is a remake of a lot of old Mario Party boards. Yep. WarioWare, I think, remakes a bunch of old games. Perhaps I'm wrong.
No, it does. I've heard that. They even touted that it uses a bunch of old mini games.
Okay. And then you've got Pokemon Snap, which is
an update to
yeah, exactly.
sequel to another game. Yeah.
Only thing that's new on here is It Takes Two and Bowser's Fury. So
yeah. Next is a Best Sim Strategy, best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. We have Age of Empires 4, Evil Genius 2, World Domination, Humankind, Inscription, and Microsoft Flight Simulator. I haven't played any of these, but there's still, I'm like, it's Flight Simulator, right? Like,
I think so.
Yeah. Probably. Just the amount of buzz that stupid game got.
Yep, I mean, it does something that none of these other ones do. No other game really does anymore. So
it's true, and does it incredibly well, with some crazy innovations in technology on like streaming the world data in.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Next one is Best Sports or Racing Game: F1 2021, FIFA 22, Forza Horizon 5, Hot Wheels Unleashed. I forgot that came out, Hot Wheels Unleashed. And then Riders Republic. I don't know.
I don't know.
Forza?
There must not have been a lot of sports and racing games, to be honest.
Yes.
They're combining them together. It's probably Forza. The only one I have any kind of other knowledge is through seeing a coworker. He streamed to us Riders Republic, what it does with a lot of networking stuff, and it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
That there's of course when you're in it in the world, there's just people online, a small number, but you can zoom out and see the map, and there's just like tons of people icons everywhere. And he's like, those aren't real people. Those are basically ghosts of someone who was online at some point and was driving or riding or doing whatever they were doing across the map. And you can go zoom in and watch what they did.
Oh, dang. That is cool.
And so it makes the world like always feel like people are in it and doing things.
Oh, wow. That is cool.
It is a cool technique. I was like, that's awesome, because it always worried me. It was like, what if there's just not a lot of people playing this game, so the world just feels empty? It's like, no, the world's never going to feel empty. There's always going to be stuff going on. Races get populated with either real people and some ghosts of people. You don't know who's the real person, who are the ghosts.
Right.
So yeah, it seems very cool from that way. I don't think it wins this, though. I think Forza probably does. I don't think FIFA is going to get it because it comes out every year. Yep. Same with F1. I don't think anyone would vote for Hot Wheels, unfortunately, although I've heard amusing things about that game.
Yeah, amusing is the word I'd use as well.
Yeah, so probably Forza, because people have really enjoyed Forza Horizon 5.
Yep,
good
totally.
Buzz out of that one. Best multiplayer. For outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of genre and platform. So you get Back 4 Blood, Knockout City, It Takes Two, Monster Hunter Rise, New World.
I can't believe that's on this list after listening to Travis.
I know. I don't see why it should be on this list. And Valheim. I like Valheim. I don't think it gets... It's not a great... It's not... I don't know. Its multiplayer was kind of screwy there for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think of it as a fantastic multiplayer experience.
Yeah. My thought is it's either... best multiplayer. It could be It Takes Two, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's the one that wins this one.
It's definitely a co-op kind of thing, like, and beyond that, like I could see Back 4 Blood or Rise getting it.
Maybe Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, but It Takes Two is probably the like most innovative multiplayer of all these. Yeah. So, how does New World get on this list? That's so dumb.
Did Amazon pay them? Because this is the first one in a while that's had 5 or 6. Excuse me.
No one's paying them, but I don't know.
I mean, whatever. Critics vote. Whatever.
Yeah.
But that's
Content Creator of the Year. I don't know these people.
I'd skip this one. Yeah.
Best debut indie. Okay.
Bam.
For the best debut game created by an independent studio, The Artful Escape, The Forgotten City, Kena, Bridge of Spirits, Sable, and Valheim. This is actually a pretty stacked category.
This is a stacked category because I'd vote for, again, I still need to play Artful Escape, but based on what I've heard, it will be one I'm going to love. And Valheim is fucking great.
Yeah.
So Valheim and Kena. I've heard things about Sable, but
I've heard that Sable is like, I mean, I've watched that game for years of development, and artistically amazing.
Yeah.
Like I love the art. The reviews on the gameplay were pretty mediocre overall. Not that it was bad, but it was just like, oh, it's very pretty, with not a whole lot going on.
And is Forgotten City like a walking sim? What is that? I don't know. I've never heard of this game.
I have no clue.
But man, Kena, this is...
Yeah, I think for like a debut indie, I mean, honestly, it's either Kena or Valheim.
Yes,
and it depends on what the person voting figures is more important. Like the wow factor of the game, like Kena just being like this, like you said, it looks like a AAA game made by an indie.
Yep.
Or something like Valheim, which is just this huge viral success.
Yes.
That, out of a studio that has never done anything like that. So,
Right.
I don't know. It's those two. I'm not going to pick. I don't know which one it's going to be.
I guess I would probably pick Valheim, even though I'd love it to be Kena.
I think Kena gets the other category.
Yeah,
that we came through.
Yeah. I think Valheim is probably the one that gets the one here.
Here's the Prime Gaming one. Most anticipated game presented by Prime
There's the
Gaming.
money from Amazon.
Yep. Recognizing an announced game that has demonstrated I can't say that word, illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. Really?
Demonstrably illustrated potential? What the fuck? Who wrote that?
I don't know. Keeley did.
This category is the dumbest. This category is the dumbest.
So we have Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
We don't even have a fucking name for the one here.
And Starfield.
Which has very little.
Whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the most anticipated. Like, this is probably...
Elden Ring is going to win this one.
Probably?
Because people have played the most of Elden Ring.
It's true.
You know?
I could see God of War Ragnarok winning as well.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm excited for that one as well. I'm excited for almost all these games.
Yeah.
I don't really care about Starfield, to be honest, but
I'll play Starfield. When you're talking about anticipated game, I'm like, Starfield's like years away. Like, I can't get myself that anticipated about it.
I know, it's like 2025 or some shit. Like, whatever.
At
this
minimum,
for like the next 4 years.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Like,
I mean, to be honest, like for me, it's Breath of the Wild. Whatever comes next. Like, I'm playing that with my daughter now, and just remembering how fucking great that game is. We play in the mornings, obviously, and I'll tell now. And then my daughter was like, I want mom to play with us. I was like, you want to go upstairs and wake mom up early so she can play a video game with us? Are you sure this is what you want to do? She's like, yes. Okay. The consequences are yours. But she came down and was totally into it, and we did a shrine, and I was making the solution way more complicated than it needed to be, although I probably still would have achieved the goal. And my wife had an idea that was much simpler and achieved the goal.
All right.
So we were all three solving this puzzle together, and it's like, wow, this is actually a really cool family experience. And later, my wife was like, are there more of those shrine things in this game?
You're like, there's 120 of them.
I said, there's a fuck ton of them. Yes, there are more. Oh, cool. Well, let me know next time.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah. So
I don't know. Yeah, that's
any of these, category. Man. The one that's coming out the quickest is Elden Ring, right? It's January.
Yeah. I think it got moved to it's January or February. Very end of January, the very beginning of February.
Yeah, because Horizon's just after that.
When is Elden Ring? Oh no, it got moved to February 25th. That's right. It got delayed.
Elden Ring did?
Yeah, Elden Ring is February 25th. Horizon Forbidden West is February 18th.
Oh, it comes before Elden Ring, so that one's the first one. I see.
Yeah, because Elden Ring was originally going to be January, and it got pushed a month.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Cool.
Best esports game. I don't have a say in this, but it was presented by Grubhub.
Yeah, I don't care who wins this one. Best esports.
Give it to Counter-Strike. Why not? Counter-Strike's still around.
How the fuck? Oh man, Counter-Strike is on this list.
Yeah,
that's
Counter-Strike
cool.
Global Offensive. Like, why not?
Sure. Esports athlete skipping.
Nope.
Esports team skipping that too. Esports coach definitely skipping that.
An esports event? I don't know.
Skipping that. Oh, that's the last one. We're done.
We did it. Yay? Yay.
Yeah, Metroid Dread better win some fucking awards. That's how I feel.
It should. I mean, it was only nominated for 2, right?
No, I thought it was action adventure. It was game of the year, and it was. Oh,
I think it was just those two.
Yeah. Well, it better win one of those, if not both.
It should.
It's rolling right into what we're playing. I played that game for another hour and a half today, and it is already my favorite Metroid. Which is, Super Metroid is one of my top games of all time. I love that game, and I think that the I don't know, we talked about it last week or week before, just how it's a little more contained, so you don't get too lost. There was a couple places where I was at today that I felt like, I need to go on the other side of the map. I'm in the wrong spot. It's like, no, I'm right where I need to be. Start shooting things, and again, there was like a hidden wall somewhere. and then I got to the first boss. It was like Corpius. I don't know if you got to Corpius where you get the Phantom Cloak after you beat.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That was really fun. It took me, it took me probably like 10 attempts, to be honest. It took me a while because obviously the way that I play is just like balls to the wall, aggressive, and I just take hits to give hits, and I needed to be a little more thoughtful about that.
Yes.
And it took me a while, and I started figuring out the pattern, and I was able to do that. My problem with the Switch, because I was out and about, I forgot my grip, so I was playing with the flat slate, and that was a little hard actually to do the controls with the flat slate grip. So that was part of my problem. It's like, oh, the controls aren't as good as I've been saying, only because I don't have like the thing to grip onto. But it took me a little bit to beat that character, and then when I did, I got the Phantom Cloak, and then I countered that. I ran into like 4 or 5 Emmys, and I countered them a couple of times, which is just so fucking satisfying. But it did take me a couple tries to figure out how to use the Omega Cannon with the Emmy.
Right.
Because after you beat one of the
Yep.
like a Metroid somewhere or whatever, and the game is really good at saying, "Hey, dummy, here's a hint screen to tell you the thing that you are forgetting." Because when you get it, it makes you blow open or heat up the door,
Yep,
and then blast to get out. You're
Yep.
like, okay, so that's telling me how to do it, but I thought I had to do it at the same time. And after 2 or 3 times of dying, the hint screen, which it had come up 2 or 3 times, I didn't read it. And then third time I read it, and it said you don't have to, heat up the face shield or whatever on the Emmy and blast it at the same time. So heat it up till it comes off, run away, and then line up your shot.
Yep.
And then I did that, and it was fine.
And that makes it. I enjoyed because it makes pretty interesting level design decisions because you have like a spot where you're like, okay, I have room here to blow up the face shield.
Correct.
Cool. Now I'm going to hunt this. I got to figure out an area that I have enough time where I can see the Emmy coming at me to charge to blow it up. And it makes for some crazy kind of like exploration trying to find that. I really enjoyed that sequence quite a bit.
Yeah, and I with that one, and then by beating Corpius, like I had to do it several times, and it was enjoyable every single time because I knew I'm fucking this up. The game's not fucking this up. I'm not seeing something. And then I saw it. I was like, oh, I can run away and then do the second piece. So I was trying to like blast that thing off and then charge and then shoot. And I was like, this is not, I don't have enough time. What the fuck? So it's getting me to do things that I should do naturally and I don't, which is to be patient and think. Because in video games, I don't do that.
Like the first spot, was it Corpius?
The first big boss that I faced is Corpius.
Yeah, that one. I beat it on my first try.
Damn.
But I was focused on using my ability. I was like, okay, what have they taught me in the game? I must use those things.
Yep.
And I noticed I was like, oh, there's a place on the wall I can stick to. Cool.
Yep.
And I slide under things. So like, I was like, okay, I think I got this. Like, just use the things that they've given me.
I felt really cool about the slide thing because when it goes in that second or third phase, whatever it was, I think third phase, and that like highlights that you're looking at its ass, and I was like, why are they doing? Oh, I can slide under this thing. I'm gonna charge my shot, slide under, and just bust it in the face, and that's exactly what worked. So that felt cool.
Yeah,
but I just kept thinking that I was closer to the end, and I would just like rush at the end to just like hit the ball on the tail or whatever, and I just get fucking wiped.
Yep.
It's like stop, slow down. And I did, and I won. It was fine.
Yeah.
But that was a long boss fight, to be honest.
It was.
For like the first one.
Yeah. The bosses are a little intense in the game. I'll give it that. They require truly, like, that's the thing. And the bosses are like, we've taught you to use abilities. Use those abilities. If you don't, you lose. Like,
right. I think the checkpointing is pretty generous, so I didn't have to go through too much.
No.
I'm not sure if all the boss doors are the same, where it's like this like living thing on the charge beam door that you have to kill it to get in.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have you only faced one boss?
I faced another boss? I can't remember. I think I'm at a boss. Or was about to go to a boss. It was after getting the Various suit. It was really close. It seemed like I was going to a boss. But yeah, I need to play more of that game. I don't know why I'm not, but
With the Black Friday sale, I've got a couple things in my cart. I'm like, cool. I've been wanting to play Ratchet all year. I'm gonna play Ratchet. No, sit the fuck down and play Metroid with your very limited gaming time because you want to get through this game. And I'm so glad that I am. It is truly spectacular.
I agree. I should get back to it. Have you played anything else?
Other than Breath of the Wild with my family, no.
Okay. So the weird thing is, I haven't played much of anything this week. I was working a lot because I was taking this week off. I just want to get stuff wrapped up. And when I wasn't, I played a little bit of Genshin here and there, doing my dailies, but nothing insane there. And I'm going back and forth still on if I'm like, do I want to get Shin Megami Tensei?
Mm-hmm.
But man, there's something holding me back from like getting a new big game like that, and like the I don't know, the inertia it takes to get started in something like that.
Yeah.
Like, do I want to sit here with this? And I know I'll go through the opening, get through the whole thing, and like learn the whole thing. And like, there's a lot of effort that goes into starting a new game like that. And I just have been tired. And then when I have been working, what was I doing? I had D&D this week. I played D&D on one night. I watched the Cowboy Bebop movie to get prepared myself for watching Cowboy Bebop, and that's what I did. I stayed up really late Thursday night, watched an episode, and then finished it up last night, the live action.
How do you feel about it overall?
Fine.
Yeah.
I don't hate it or anything. This is how I put it. I'm like, I was entertained. I have watched so much worse in my life on TV. And I found this entertaining. I laughed a number of times throughout of it. I liked the chemistry of the core cast. I rolled my eyes a couple times, and some of it was cringy. But I didn't feel like it ruined my enjoyment of the original. It doesn't replace the original. And by the time I finished with it, it had completely gone a different direction than the original. Like, thematically, it is a different beast. Which is fine. I'm okay with that, because I'm like, I don't want a one-to-one remake. And honestly, the show was generally bad when it tried to do a one-to-one remake of the anime. It was good whenever it was just trying to like riff on the anime, light homage to it, and just do its own thing. Because I wouldn't just say anime doesn't translate well to live action, just animation in general doesn't translate as well to live action overall.
No, the medium does different things.
Yeah, so it's really, you can't really make it match. So I'm not like this super negative person on it. I'm like, it was entertaining. I laughed. The banter between the core three characters was great. I like all the core three actors, their take on these characters, like a little bit different. I don't know, how much do we care about spoilers?
None. Zero.
Okay.
It's been out for a long fucking time.
It has been. So the big change in this, it's like 10 episodes, and the episodes are way long. Like, they're not 22-minute episodes. These are range between 45 minutes and 60 minutes for 10 episodes. So longer. They don't straight up remake any episode directly. They pull elements from all the anime episodes and kind of remix them and pull them in different places. But they center everything on Spike's storyline, which in the anime, Spike's storyline is like, of the 26 episodes of the anime, I think it's 5 episodes actually deal with Spike's storyline. Like, because the anime doesn't have a really big through line overall. It's basically episode of the week where you get backstory of all these different characters, or they just go do something. And it's fine, and I enjoy that, and that's what it is. They're just getting bounties and doing on crazy adventures. But the anime has like 5 episodes. The 5th episode is the first one that really like, there's a backstory to Spike that's gonna probably play a bigger deal in the anime. They expand that for the TV show and use that as like the through line story. Every episode touches on Spike's backstory in some way. And all the elements kind of wrap back into that backstory. The thing is, 5 episodes in a 26 episode anime doesn't really give you a whole lot of backstory. Right. You're like, yep, Spike was in the Syndicate. Vicious and Spike were like companions in the Syndicate, like hitmen, worked together. They had a big falling out. Spike tries to leave the Syndicate, fakes his death to leave the Syndicate. And they had a love triangle with this woman named Julia, who in the anime is really just an object in Spike's past. She's not really a character. She shows up in the end for like an episode and dies. She's not a character. Never was supposed to be. It was just a thing that Spike wants and has memories of. That's it. Not a great female character overall. Not really even a character.
Does it mean that there will be more seasons of some of the other episodes from the anime that they dig into?
Probably. But the thing is, the anime, the TV show does, is they make Julia a character. Like, she's there from the beginning. Every episode, she's involved. Like, they cut to her and Vicious, and they build up pretty big backstory between who these characters and Spike's backstory are, and make a character, and make this crazy arc, basically, for Julia of being a character. And it's going to get to the end, and I now can immediately know when someone's arguing in bad faith on this show.
Because you can tell I didn't watch the whole fucking thing.
No, they can watch the whole thing, and it's just, how do they respond to this change of Julia's character and the stuff that happens at the end of the live action?
Right.
If they respond in ways of like, oh, look they're just wanting to give the depth to this female character. Yeah, you're a misogynistic asshole. Go away. You don't count. Like, there's an actual line now where I can look at things and be like, no, your opinion doesn't matter. Like, two people that are actually more nuanced on like going like, wow, this really changes the themes of the anime. Like, having this, I will call it a twist or a surprise at the end, radically changes Spike's character, Julia's character, the whole thing. Like, radically changes thematically kind of what stuff's about. And I can get behind people that are like, I'm not on board with that. Like, I did not sign up for something like that.
As opposed to, can you believe they're giving a woman more airtime?
It's not airtime, and like giving her such like agency, basically. Like, because she has agency in this show, and they show it.
Yeah, because that's kind of the reaction I had when our friends sent that in Discord. I was like, oh boy, here we go. I was ready to rebut the whole thing, and then I watched it. I was like, oh, I don't really like that very much. But I don't know the fucking show at all.
That's not Julia. That's not Julia at all. That's Ed.
Okay.
That's a completely different character. Ed is a different character that I think it's a very poor take that they did on Ed for the live action, but it is completely faithful to the anime. That's the thing about it. When I see it, I'm like, yeah, that's the Ed from the anime. Guess what? That doesn't work in live action. Why did you even try to do that in live action? Don't. Like, but I actually feel really bad about that because there's such harsh backlash on that. I worry about the young actor playing them, who is an LGBTQ non-binary actor, which fits the part very well, because there's a running joke through the anime is like, no one knows what gender Ed is. And Ed never says. Like, their dad doesn't even remember what gender they are.
Oh, wow.
It's really funny. It's not played as jokes, just like people are like, I don't actually know. It's fine. And so I just worry that they're going to get harassed over it overall.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I'm like, they didn't do anything wrong. They are 100% playing the character they were told to play. And they watched in the anime and they're told, be that character. And I'm like, you're that character. And Ed is grating as fuck in the anime. But you can get away with the grating and the weirdness and the bizarreness because it's in the animation and the way that it all moves. Doesn't work in live action.
Yeah.
But that's like the last 20 seconds to a minute of this first season of live action.
And that character is not in the movie or the show the rest of the time?
Oh, they are.
Oh.
In the anime, they don't show up until like episode 9. And then they're in it from 9 to like 24.
Yeah.
They're a core component of the crew, but they show up later to kind of disrupt the crew. As like, you've got Spike and Jet and Faye are like the three main, and they've kind of gone along, and they get the dog Ein. And and that's kind of the thing. And then Ed comes in and disrupts like their groove a bit. And that's if this show gets a second season, which it might. I don't know. We'll find out what viewership is actually like on it.
Right.
Ed will play probably a big part in season 2 overall. But it gives them time also to base on reaction if they get a season 2 to maybe figure out how they want to address the character and tone it down a bit. I still don't know why that. I mean, I get why the character is such a fan favorite character. But it was never a fan favorite character for me. I was fine with the character, but I was like, God, they're super annoying, and just they're a kid, like a super eccentric kid. That's what they are. So I don't know. Like, I guess it doesn't bother me in that way. I'm like, whatever.
Speaking of super eccentric kids, I finished The Witcher animated.
Oh, cool.
Mark of the Wolf or whatever it's called. It's fucking great.
Yes, it is.
Have you
you
finished it, right? Good fucking God. It's really fucking good. It's really well written. The animation's awesome, obviously. But just like Vesemir's story, man. And I love how they kind of, I don't know, balanced giving good backstory with moving the plot along.
Yep.
I could have used another 45 minutes or so to kind of dig into a few of those quick transition pieces. We were, I don't know, the witch was trying to get rid of all the witchers, and then we're quickly to Vesemir and the witch working together in this one little thing. It's like, could have used some more backstory there, a couple other places. But overall, man, the story was really fucking good. And I know they're using source material, so of course it's good. But man, it was fantastic. I just couldn't believe how good it was.
83 minutes. I mean, they made a tight story in that time. And like you said, you could have had more, but they clearly were like, we have budget for what we want to do. We need this budget, and that's what we got to work with in this time frame to make this happen. And I think they did great, and it really excites me for Witcher Season 2.
Yeah, man.
Because they're introducing Vesemir so much in that season. He's going to play a big part, and it's like, that's cool. You get to actually know who Vesemir is. Do the games really dig into this at all?
I've only played Witcher 3, so I don't know if 1 or 2 do. And I don't remember this from the novels or the short stories or anything like that either. I'm sure it was there, but I don't know, man. I like the idea that the Witcher property is going to be, it can be an anime. It can be the normal series that they're doing. That we're doing some weird kid shit. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. I knew walking in it was going to be good, and I was going to like it because I like The Witcher. I figured they weren't going to fuck it up, and they didn't. But the fact that they doubled my expectations, like I went in with high expectations, and it was still beat. So it was really cool.
I mean, yeah. When is the next season come out for Witcher?
About
it's
a month
soon. It's
now.
December,
I think
right?
Yeah, it's like December 23rd or December 20th or something like that. So a month away, basically, which is super exciting.
Yeah, no, because I'm really looking forward to that. And then just getting more and more excited also because every time I see Henry Cavill talk, he's such a goddamn nerd. Like, holy crap. He talks about, like, he gave interviews just playing, and the way he's like, it definitely sounded like, I don't care what they're paying me, I just want to play this character.
Yes,
like,
I want to play. That's so awesome.
Just like, holy crap, dude. Like,
he was like telling his agent, like, or talking to, the showrunner, like, I need to play this part. I want to play this part. This is the character I want to be. Fuck Superman. I want this character.
Yeah.
The 17th is when it comes out. So less than a month, actually.
That's awesome. God damn. So much great nerd TV. Yes.
Very, very exciting. It feels to me like my excitement for the next season of Game of Thrones is what this feels like to me, which is super fucking cool.
Yeah.
I think what I just looked up said that the first episode drops on the 17th, but Netflix usually just does the whole season at once. So I feel like that's going to be the whole season that day.
Probably. They did change that up a little bit with Arcane.
Oh, they did like weekly?
They did like 3 episodes each week, and I think it was 9 episodes total. I could be wrong on how long Arcane was, but it was basically 3 drops of episodes every every week.
I mean, if I were Netflix, I would space it out more because time.
I think they called it like they would call them Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Yeah, it was 3 episodes over 3 weeks. 3 episodes per week for 3 weeks. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
My wife and I are watching a show, which this is not dictated by Netflix, but we're watching the Great British Baking Show, and it's weekly. So we come back every week for that episode. So I just, obviously they get like 3 months of subscription or whatever, or 2 months of subscription.
I mean, other studios have figured, Disney Plus figured that out immediately. Totally. How much buzz was constantly for each new episode of Mandalorian when that was coming out. HBO, of course, and HBO Max figured that out. Like, it's just this one switch of being like, oh, right, this is why you would do the weekly thing again.
Yes.
Not, like you said, from a subscription standpoint, but then also just from a buzz standpoint. People will talk about each episode.
That's right.
It gets into the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah, otherwise you're talking about the whole season at one time and it's just kind of all poof and then gone.
Yep.
Yeah, that's smart.
Which actually
The Witcher then.
Yeah. The Witcher, maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't. I don't know. Who knows? But it has made me realize I'm like, I need to watch Arcane. I've heard really good things about it, even though I really don't care about League of Legends. But
yep, same.
But I've heard people talk about that it's actually like, even if you have no clue about League of Legends, that it's just a really good show. The animation is amazing, and that the story is really good.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out then.
So I'm like, maybe I should care. I don't know. I haven't cared about League of Legends in a decade. So
no, don't care about Riot. Don't care about League of Legends.
Yeah,
kind of the same thing. I don't care about Blizzard.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else for the podcast tonight?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, a little bit.
Cool. I have figured out the problem with our podcast feed shit, so that should be fixed by this week sometime.
Oh God.
Apparently I let a domain name lapse, and that's what has happened here. So apparently the RSS is tied to that domain name that I apparently haven't logged in. Oh no, I know it. It's because the fucking card number changed. So WordPress obviously sent me a message saying you haven't paid this, we're canceling, and I didn't see that email, which is the story of my life right now.
Yep. I know how it goes.
I'll get that fixed this week. Hopefully we'll be back on the podcast services of your choice. Rate us, please, there. Tell a friend, tell your mom, whatever. Tell people. And we will see you next week where we shall talk about the new hotness.
Later, everyone.